And I talked about the cycles of change. This is something that Alex Hormozy had talked about. And they talk about the 5 or 6 stages of change. And if you're going to watch this on YouTube, hopefully we can put the graphic up there. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We'll put this up there. But it's literally a seesaw. So it's like a wave, like up, down, up. So stage 1 is up. So you find something new, right? It's the shiny object. It's something that excites you. It's something that you're like, oh, I could get into this. And that's stage 1, which is uninformed optimism. So, right, you get excited, you're uninformed about it, but you're excited because it's something new. So it's uninformed optimism. Stage 2 is informed pessimism, right? So now you're like, you get into this thing and now
you know more about it.
You know more about it. You're at stage 2, you're like, okay, I got excited. I'm in this thing. And I'm like,
yeah.
It's not as what I thought it would be.
Or you start pointing out maybe all the cons and negatives of it.
So now you're a pessimist about it. So this is when the hill goes down. The crisis of meaning is stage 3. So the crisis of meaning, you start to say, wait, why am I even doing this again? And this is when you make a decision, and your decision is going to be you're going to change your goal, or you're going to find a reason to quit. Right? This is stage 3. This is a very pivotal part of your business. And stage 4 is your crash and burn stage, where you just keep going down and you don't ever get out of that crisis of meaning. You can't find a reason to do this. There's no more optimism. You're like, I don't see the light at the end of the tunnel in stage 4. Where you go from stage 4 is, where do you think you go?
If you're down there, you either go up or down. You either go up or stay there.
So after you crash and burn, you go back to stage 1 because you already quit. You're like, I'm not doing this. So you find something else, and you are now...
You repeat the cycle?
You're uninformed optimism. Yep. So it goes up, down, and then it goes back around if you go to stage 4. Now, if you go from stage 3, which is the crisis of meaning, you ask yourself, why am I doing this? And when you make a decision, you say, you know what? I'm going to keep this thing going. And then you go from stage 3 instead of stage 4, which is a crash and burn, you go to stage 5, which is informed optimism. So now you understand it's not easy to do. You understand it's going to take some struggle. You have your tools, and now you see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. And stage 5 is when you go to, after stage 5 is like stage 6, which is the achievement phase. So I think for us in this business, I said we went from stage 3. We didn't go to stage 4, which is the crash and burn. We went from stage 3, which was like, why are we doing this? And we saw a flash of optimism, which was when we started changing things. We started hiring more people. We started getting more clients on. And we had informed optimism. But after a while, you're no longer optimistic because you don't have the time or energy or dedication to put into this thing. And then you kind of go back to that cycle.
Right.
What's your thoughts on that cycle?
No thoughts on it.
Stage 6, which is achievement, you're like, oh, this actually works. And I think we were at stage 6 for a while where it's like, this thing is working, but it only works when you do the work.
Yeah, I don't know that we ever second guessed that it was going to work or not, because then we wouldn't have bought the business model. At first, before we even, I don't know if you've heard us say a million times that Anthony is always the one that brings the business ideas. So what happened with this business, if you didn't know, we didn't even say this story. We were utilizing them as our VA company, and we got an email that they're closing down like in a week, or I don't know, a week or 2 days. I can't even remember what the email said, but it's like, we're closing, bye-bye. We're like, wait a minute, hold on now. What are we going to do? And then Tony was like, well, why don't we see if we can buy it? I'm like, I'm not buying the business. First of all, we're in the trenches of the cleaning business. We don't have our operations manager. We have a VA. Like, this is, I'm not taking on more headache, because I feel like this could be the same thing as the cleaning business. But what sold me on it was that it came with a manager, if you will. So technically that she would be the buffer between us and the client. So I'm like, okay.
Well, us in the operations.
Us in the operations, the day-to-day. So I'm like, okay, this may make sense. Because now it's not about necessarily managing it. It's not about managing it the way that we do the cleaning business, because now there's someone there to do most of the heavy lifting. So this actually seems like it does make sense. So that was the reason we went on to buy the virtual assistant business. We bought it because they were closing, and we were like, we'll take it on. And we did that for over 2 years and did what we could with it. But as we said, and also we say a lot of times too, I think a lot of things are lessons. It's not necessarily that, oh, you're closing, it's a failure. Absolutely not. At least not for us. That's not how we're going to see it ever. One, it served its purpose. 2, we then took that same individual that was a manager from the virtual assistant business and made her our operations manager in our cleaning business. So that alone makes it a win. Yeah. That, even though we've had losses this year, that alone makes it a win, because she has helped our business really pivot and grow tremendously since she's been in place. So
where can you see like the guiding light? Where can you see the silver lining in all of this? And you got to think about that and no matter what you're doing. Now, that's a great silver lining as well. And then also, we can say we tried it. We can say we bought a business. We've grown
What's our first and only business we've bought?
No, we bought
what did you buy?
2 cleaning businesses. Well, we bought their clients.
Yeah.
So we did that as well. And that didn't work out too well either. Maybe we just stopped buying stuff. But that wasn't a full
on.
Yeah, that wasn't a full acquisition. That was more of a client list that we bought. But it's like, what can you learn from the situation? And I tell our students this all the time, is like, when you start this business, it is not going to be easy. Like, you're going to be optimistic about it. And I told you about the stages of change, but what can you learn about it? So we've learned a lot of things. One of the takeaways you said was we were able to hire an operations manager. We realized that she's a lot more than just operations manager for our cleaning business. We learned that she can be operations manager for everything that we're doing. We've learned how to take resources and move them around and put the right people in the right places. We've learned how to have people that work under us manage other people. Yeah, we do that at our 9-to-5s, but it's a lot different when you have someone in your business managing other people. How much time do you have to put into that person to put into other people? How do you train them? How do you guide them? How do you make sure they move around and do the right things? How do you make sure they're doing the right things for your clients as well? So these are things that you have to learn as a silver lining, especially if you're going to do anything outside your job, because I said this is the hardest week. And even as of recently last night, I woke up in the middle of the night.
Oh my God.
I woke up in the middle of the night and I jumped out of bed.
2 things you pissed me off.
I jumped out my bed. We just had the conversation and I was like, this doesn't feel good. People don't want to have the difficult conversations. And I enjoy and I thrive in that difficult conversation, but it sucks all the time. So I think I handled the conversations very well.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, I said the same thing. I'm like, I don't disregard that it's a difficult conversation. I imagine if my boss is telling me, yeah, within the next 3 weeks, the company, whatever, you got to find another job or do whatever, whatever it is you want to do, you got to figure it out. I'm be like, oh, okay, I've been here for 3 years, whatever the case may be. This is why we always tell people that your job ain't guaranteed. So of course it doesn't feel good because it's people's livelihood. And we have, 10 to 12 people that help to operate and run our virtual assistant business. But yeah, you did a phenomenal job, but I knew you would. So
Last night, and maybe these conversations make it back to them. Like, we didn't go into this much detail because it doesn't make, you're talking to people, you're literally telling them like
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
No.
So last night in the middle of the night, I woke up and I jumped out the bed. It was, what time was it? Maybe 2, 3?
1 something, I think.
1. I jumped out the bed and I said, I smell smoke. And I ran to the kitchen. Janoka was like, whoa, as I ran to the kitchen. And I said, I smell smoke.
No. You jumped out the bed and ran, and I said your name. You didn't respond. Then you came back in, and you was like, oh, yeah, I smell smoke.
So I went to the kitchen, and I got to the kitchen. I didn't smell smoke anymore because I was up at that point. I wasn't sleepwalking because I don't sleepwalk. I literally jumped up out the bed, and I said, I smell smoke. The smoke was so real in my dreams that I thought it was real when I got up. By the time I got up and woke up, like fully was awake, I got to the kitchen. I was like, there's no smoke in here.
Did you Google what that means, maybe?
Shit, don't get me. I'm never one to Google dreams. Oh my God.
I never remember my dreams, so there's no way I'm Googling anything. Only when I was pregnant, I would remember dreams, but now I don't remember any dreams. Even though they say you dream every single night, but
I typed in, what does smelling smoke? And it comes up
in the dream. Well, this could be like when they say don't Google, don't WebMD stuff because people start to find things and think that they're
dying. They're going through a seizure.
Okay, well,
they said that could be. They said smelling smoke is a sign of seizure
when you're dreaming, not in life.
That's real life.
Okay, yeah, there's a difference there. Okay,
they said I got a symptom of phantosmia.
Okay, this is only a one-time thing.
Stroke. Oh, wait. I gotta say. Okay, so they said when you smell smoke
while dreaming, that's the important part.
Is a commented dream of smelling smoke.
Okay,
now they going into gods and stuff like that.
Okay, so we don't got to answer right now. But if y'all find out, let us know in the comments. Let me see what it might mean. But go ahead, finish your story. So you came back in.
They said this is very significant, and this happens to a lot of people in their dreams. Blah blah blah. Let me see. All right, they ain't really got.
They don't got nothing. It just happens.
At least nothing crazy worth discussing here.
Okay, cool. So go ahead. What do you think that it ties back to?
So anyway, I got up, I jumped up, and I said, "There's no smoke." And I went back in the room, and I said, "Yeah, I was dreaming about the smell of smoke."
I was like, ugh. I was pissed.
You were absolutely pissed
Because you went back to bed immediately.
I went and I knocked out.
And I'm here on my phone.
But that just tells you the level of anxiety that these type of things can give you. Like, there's no reason why I'm making, and I know it's hard to fall asleep. And I also had an energy drink towards the end of the night too.
I had a difficult time falling asleep too. But I thought I was like, there was something.
Oh, there
separate.
you go. So this is not something that to take lightly when you have to literally, change people's lives in that way. Mm-hmm. Now, we've been able to keep this, like, this is something that wasn't going to last this long. And it was like we came in, we breathed oxygen into it, we gave it money, and then we had this thing going for multiple years.
So that was the other thing for me why I said, and I got to word this right because then I could be considered mean, but why I said I didn't feel as heavy I felt as you were taking it. Because I'm like, and when we speak to some of them, they're like, one, they saw this coming. That's one. Two, they were able to admit there were times that they're like, I felt bad because I felt like I was just milking the clock. And I wasn't doing much either. So I'm like,
that's going to be at your 9 to 5 too.
Oh yeah. I mean, they say that the statistics show you only work about 2.5 hours out of the 8-hour day. So that's
I don't disagree with that.
No. Google it. So I knew that we gave a lot. So to me, it's like, yes, no one wants to lose their job. However, you probably were getting away like a bandit for a good amount of time. So it kind of like weighs itself. So to that extent, yes, I feel bad of closing a company and now this shakes up people's livelihood. So that's important to know. I do understand that. But on the other side of it, it's like there were signs that this is probably coming, and also the amount of work that you probably were putting in and get, the amount that you were actually receiving probably wasn't the same. So it's okay. It's okay, and it will be okay.